Well, that didn't go as smooth as I hoped it would. Anyways, I took my Happy Run G300 Pro up to the mountains today because I want to go fishing. But I also want to make another video on the Happy Run G300 Pro. This is what I like to call a budget Sur-Ron alternative. And as you guys know, if you watch my videos, I'm always on the search for budget Sur-Ron alternatives that are actually good. We've reviewed the Tudio Solio 1, the Tudio ICT, all sorts of different high performance e-bikes that come in at pretty good prices. And this Happy Run G300 Pro is the best performing of them all, with a top speed of 48 miles per hour, a 72 volt 30 amp hour battery, and my favorite part being that it's about the same size as a typical Sur-Ron. But is there a catch? Yes, there is a catch. And in today's video, I'm gonna be going over everything that I like about this bike after owning it for a few months, and everything that I dislike about it. Now, if you're even thinking about getting the Happy Run G300 Pro in the near future, listen up and try to watch to the end of this video, because some of the points that I'm gonna bring up about this bike might change your mind about the Happy Run G300 Pro. Also, if you aren't already subscribed, make sure to go ahead and do that, because everybody who subscribes puts a smile on my face, helps support this community, and each subscription allows me to do more great videos like this. And let's get right into the review. So one thing about the Happy Run G300 Pro that's pretty nice is I can fit it in the back of my Jeep, and it's a relatively small car. It's a pretty small car. Only a 2-door, and it does have like a decent amount of space in the back, but it's sort of cubed and I kind of got to fold up the seat. But some bikes I have a lot of trouble fitting in there. This one is relatively easy. I do need to ratchet strap down these forks actually, but that's simple. Ratchet straps are like 10 bucks. All right, so I got my GoPro on and we're gonna straddle our bike, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn this thing on. So I think before I go into like the main things that I really like about this bike, let's just start off by stating that this is a $2,500 bike. I always like to sort of give my opinions on things relative to the price that I paid for them, right? Because, you know, we're not gonna expect this to be like a full-blown Sur-Ron that costs $4,000. Like, that's just never gonna happen. You gotta pay Sur-Ron prices if you want a full-blown Sur-Ron. But golly, is this thing pretty darn close. Like I mentioned, it's a full-size bike that is going to work for adult riders, which I think is pretty awesome. I'm about 6'3" and I'm able to ride this thing pretty comfortably. It's still kind of small enough to where I'm able to throw it into my car, but I really do like the sizing of this bike. I think it makes it accessible to a wide range of riders. So, you know, that's one of the biggest concerns that a lot of people have. Am I gonna be able to fit on this thing, or, you know, am I just gonna get screwed out of my money, right? Because it's kind of hard to send these things back. But, you know, oh my God. Holy crap, there's a huge crack in the road. But no, the sizing on this thing is actually great. So another thing that I really like about this bike is the speed and acceleration that it has. You know, relative to the price point, it's kind of hard to find bikes that are really fast, that have decent acceleration. And I have to say, this bike does accelerate pretty fast. Like you can see, I pull the throttle, it's starting to get going about 33 miles per hour right there. I've done a top speed test of this bike, gotten it up to about 46 miles per hour, which is close enough to their claimed top speed where I'm not gonna get mad about it. So it's a fast bike, fits well. Now, another thing that I've really grown to love about this bike is the suspension that it has. I'm not really displaying the performance of it right now, so I really quickly wanna try to find like a small trailer or something where I can just kind of show this stuff off. Okay, let's see. Maybe I'll squirm through here. Maybe a bear lives here and is gonna maul me, but we'll see. I mean, this stuff is just, it's hilariously smooth. Oh, I can't really get on it right now because I got my freaking fishing rod going up my shirt. But this is some really good suspension that they have on this bike. Most off-road trails are really easy to traverse with this bike, just due to the fact that it just has super smooth suspension. Like, it's kind of feels similar to what you'd get with like a Honda dirt bike, and there goes a deer. Look at him go. We can go off-road with this thing all day. I absolutely love it. And by the way, this whole area is a huge funnel for wildlife. Like, there are so many animals out here, it's crazy. All right, so number 4 for me has to be range. I have not been able to kill the battery on this bike yet. And I definitely trust this bike to take me to places like this, sort of in the backcountry over here on these fire roads. The range on this bike so far for me has been nothing but positive. I don't even think I've been able to drain this battery down past like 40%, right? on any of the rides that I go. This thing has plenty range. I mean, it's a 72 volt, 30 amp hour battery. So it's a really legit battery size, something that you're gonna expect on most Sur-Ron style electric motorcycles that cost around $4,000. They put it on this bike for only $2,500, which was super impressive for me. And this is where I have to go to the cons of owning this bike that I've noticed so far. All right, so we are as far away from civilization as possible. The trail ends right here. I had to take this thing super far out in order to go fishing today because there's just way too many people out. But fortunately for you, if you're seeing this video, it means I'm still alive and you're gonna get more great content from me. Anyways, I'm gonna take a little break from talking about the happy run. We're gonna see if we can catch some fish. See that pond over there? That's where we're gonna get ourselves a fish.
Blue gigi. Blue gigi.
Oh my God, those are big. What the heck? Dude, there's some big fish in here. Look at that bluegill. Oh, these are nice. I didn't bring the hooks. I can't believe that. I didn't bring the hooks. This is the number one thing that I dislike. It has quick speed, it has decent acceleration, but it doesn't have a lot of torque. And what torque is turning power. So essentially what this means is if you're in a rut, right? Or maybe you're stopped and you're on a hill, it takes a long time for you to get up to speed, right? Especially from the get-go. Like it just doesn't want to like turn over and like accelerate super fast. You're definitely not going to be doing burnouts on this thing, right? And I've seen some people do wheelies on these bikes, but honestly, I'm just like, I'm not really sure how you do that. And I'm kind of a wheelie troglodyte. Like I don't really do wheelies that much. I don't really do anything crazy on these bikes, but there's just not a lot of torque. When you're on flat road and you hit the throttle, it accelerates decently fast, just not super torquey, which is definitely something you might want to consider if you're looking to purchase this bike. It's not going to be doing any burnouts. Now, number two is the sacrifice they made to keep this thing at $2,500. Now, obviously it has Sur-Ron-like performance, goes 46 miles per hour for me, has a lot of range with the 72 volt, 30 amp hour battery, but I do believe some of the materials on this bike are kind of cheap and they're definitely not the type of materials you'd want to thrash too hard. This frame, for example, most Sur-Rons, most high-end electric motorcycles are CNC machined, while this seems to be stamped or laser cut and then welded together. This frame is maybe only about, I don't know, 3 millimeters thick, and I think it'll definitely do the job. I don't expect this frame to just break on me, but it's definitely not incredibly thick, and I could definitely see somebody bending or breaking this frame easier than they would on most Sur-Ron electric motorcycles. Now, another thing I didn't like about this bike is that it has pedals. Now, I get that some people kind of want a bike that looks like an electric motorcycle but has pedals so that the cops don't bother them, but they're really not very useful on this bike, and they're not useful because of the position that they're in. When you try to pedal with this bike, it puts you in this weird position. It makes it super hard to actually get going, and then the gear ratio is such that you're only able to pedal this bike up to about 15 miles per hour. And obviously, this is a decently powerful bike, gets up to about 48 miles per hour, so what's even the point of having those pedals? There's really none. If you can't pedal the bike, why have pedals? I don't have them on my bike right now, not because I purposely removed them, but because I actually fell down and one of them bent in a little bit. So I made these makeshift foot pegs just for me to ride this bike for this review. But honestly, I'm not really a huge fan of the pedals. And if you could find an alternative to them, that would be probably a better option in my opinion. But to each their own. Some people might prefer the pedals on this thing. Just for me, I think they're a little bit silly. This is an expensive bike at $2,500. Not a lot of people are gonna be able to afford that, but it does have really great performance features. It's quick, it's gonna be able to keep up with the cars on the road with no issues. And I also think that's a really cool looking bike. In my opinion, this is one of the cooler looking bikes that I've reviewed, especially in this blue color. And by the way, blue is much faster than orange. With that being said, if you're somebody who's just looking to enjoy this bike, ride it on the road, ride it on trails, maybe do light jumps with this bike, it's gonna be fine. I do believe it's going to hold up. If you are still interested in this bike, make sure to use my discount in the description below to get $100 off, and also make sure to subscribe because it helps this channel out a lot. Without further ado, see you guys soon in the next one. Later.